Bitcoin hit the news headlines last year as the price of one unit quickly grew 2,000% and got close to $20,000 per coin. Hairdressers to engineers to financial investors all around the world were looking to get involved and reap the benefits of this so-called new technology that was deemed to transform the shape of money.
However, although it is often referred to as new, Bitcoin has existed since 2009, and the technology it is built on has roots going back even further. Its backbone is the blockchain protocol, which attempts to keep a consistent list of transactions in a peer-to-peer network, detached from governments, banks, and other financial intermediaries. The blockchain protocol successfully solves the real distributed problem of agreement and has the potential to support a novel decentralized system of money transactions called cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is a result of the revolutionary idea of Satoshi Nakamoto, whose real identity remains a mystery to this day. He proposed a peer-to-peer electronic cash system that combines cryptography, networking theory, computer science, and economic incentives to create a fully individual, decentralized crypto economy. Given blockchain's mechanics of multiple decentralized actors forming an interdependent network, such as cryptocurrencies, it should be no surprise that game theory is critical for blockchain development and the condition of these currencies.
To understand game theory's significance to cryptoeconomics, we need a deeper understanding of both cryptography and how incentives affect the security and functionality of game systems. Blockchain is made up of various blocks, also known as nodes, sequentially connected together. Each node contains information about the previous node, the current transaction, and timestamp that is all encrypted via hash functions. The whole blockchain is maintained by a network of communication nodes running Bitcoin software. Bitcoin is not distributed via any central institution, and is obtained via a process called mining. Mining is a record-keeping service done through the use of computer processing power. Essentially, when a transaction occurs, a miner will handle the bookkeeping of the chain. Miners keep the blockchain consistent, complete, and unalterable by repeatedly grouping newly broadcast transactions into a block, which is then broadcast to the network and verified by recipient nodes. Creating such blocks, but moreover distributing it to a P2P network, requires a lot of energy and computational power.
These tasks are undertaken by miners, which are rewarded by newly created cryptocurrency for allowing the ledger to work and to be distributed. You might have understood that consequently such miners have consequent power over the Bitcoin network and may be attempted to cheat it. In theory, there are many ways in which you can unrightfully claim more Bitcoins, so let's take a look at some of the most common examples. For one, double spending. In essence, double spending means spending the same money twice. Since Bitcoin is in a digital form, the miner can make multiple transactions with the same amount of Bitcoins, since any digital file can be duplicated or falsified from the block creators. As shown in the image, let's say a transaction where an individual spends 20 Bitcoins on a purchase and is recorded in block blue. If a new chain is created as shown by the red blocks, the individual in theory still has the 20 Bitcoins, but since the chain was forked, such transaction is not recorded, and in theory those 20 Bitcoins were never spent, meaning that the individual gained from a singular transaction. This is essentially called double spending in cryptocurrency terms. So why are miners not using such strategies which could provide them with a higher payoff? The response lies in Bitcoin's and blockchain's inherent functions. For a block to be valid, it needs to be accepted by at least 50% of the network, and other miners need to be kept mining on this block. Shall one of these conditions not be met, the block and the chain will be refused, and the miner will not win any Bitcoin by mining on this block, as well as not winning from the tempered transaction. By being distributed with a peer-to-peer network, with everyone having the full copy of the ledger, the system is secured and a cheat might be prevented. When someone creates a new block, it is sent to everyone on the network, and they will check if it was not tampered with. They then agree which blocks are valid or not, creating consensus. Shall the block be valid, the miner will receive a reward of newly created cryptocurrency. Hence, miners have little incentives to accept and mine on invalid blocks. Consequently, to effectively tamper with a block in a chain, you need to take control of more than 50% of the peer-to-peer network. When miners spend time and energy computing the hash of a block, they then need that block to be correct so it's accepted by the network. That's how they receive the block's mining reward. Otherwise, miners lose time and money, and eventually everyone refuses to interact with their node. Therefore, cheating could result in a punishment or a negative payoff if they act unilaterally. But what if the miners agree to cooperate and mine on each other's falsified transactions? Any continuous action like this can bring havoc, as anyone would be able to set new terms and conditions, and all they would need would be to create favourable conditions for the majority of miners is to join in on the cheating. This is called proof of work takeover or a hostile chain takeover. As we have already introduced the concept of double spending, we will further explore why miners mine on top of the original blockchain and not on top of the new invalid one. The simple reason for that lies in the essence of the blockchain mechanics, which turns any block attached on top of the invalid chain invalid as well. Hence, miners are incentivized to use the original blockchain only. They are further attracted by the higher scores attributed to blocks on the original chain. Looking at the payoff matrix, we can identify two Nash equilibria, when both players have the same strategies, to stay on the original chain or to switch to the new invalid one. That is, there is only payoff if both follow the same chains. As we can see, the payoffs are higher for both players if they cheat, meaning they follow the invalid chain, due to double spending. However, in reality it is more favourable for both players to stay on the original chain. In game theoretic terms, this is explained by the concepts of Schelling point and bounded rationality, which we will now explore. The problem with using the Nash equilibrium in this case is that there are multiple equilibriums, so which payoff actually occurs in real life? The answer to this is, of course, is that users continue to build on the valid chain, not defecting to the new invalid one, even though the payoff would be greater if everyone defected. The reason for this can be explained by using the Schelling point. In the absence of communication, people will converge on following the existing valid chain, as this is arguably the strongest Schelling point. The reasoning is that everyone acts truthfully, providing the correct answer and following the valid chain, as this is what they expect everyone else will do, and the system of the blockchain in cryptocurrencies encourages everyone to build on the same chain, as everyone else is rewarding for mining on the latest valid chain. This makes this the focal point of the payoff. Another reason for this being the case is bounded rationality, which states that people will opt for the simplest solution. In this case, this is also the Schelling point, as people are used to following the valid chain and so will continue to do so. So how do chains stay stable without attacks? This can be explained by the Grim Trigger. The Grim Trigger strategy is where a player will cooperate for as long as other players cooperate. However, as soon as others defect, the player will continue to defect forever. So to prevent this endless cycle, there should be no defects in the first place. The threat of continued conflict is enough in most cases to keep everyone cooperating today. In relation to Bitcoin, while exists the threat of miners defecting and taking over to create a new chain, there is a possibility that the new coalition of attackers will do the same to the new chain, and so on. By upholding the existing blockchain, the value and legitimacy is maintained, which is in the best interest of the miners, provided they are only loyal to this one currency, and the currency cannot be mined using CPUs. Otherwise, miners can simply revert to other currencies and continue as usual. In conclusion, our presentation aims to assess the growing importance of a thorough game theoretical analysis on the blockchain, which, based on mechanics of self-policing interdependency between decentralized actors, has the potential of redefining the essence and apparatus of the whole financial system at its core.